My name is Jim Little, and as was stated, I'm the head of our safety and security team here. Got a couple of our members back there in the back, Bill and JJ. My first experience with religion was I was born into a Catholic family in Pennsylvania, small mining town, and when I was 9 years old, my father passed away, and my mother and my sisters moved us here to Texas. So, and then I attended Catholic school through the 4th and the 8th grade. And I questioned many of the things in Catholic school, but like a good Catholic boy, I just sort of accepted a lot of it. But one of the times I was an altar boy, and I asked the Monsignor, who was the head of our group, or head of the priest in our parish, how come Adam and Eve were the only children, had only 2 children, and they were both guys, and there were no women? And how did they populate the earth? Well, he made a sort of an offhanded comment, and he said, well, there's a village over across the way, and they went over there. So I thought, okay, but being the good Catholic boy that I was, I accepted that. I didn't. In the Catholic Church, for those of you who have been or are or were, we didn't use the Bible very much. We used the catechism class, and we used the catechism book, and so there were many things that were in the Bible, and I never did anything to follow up with that. So the next thing that happened, I would go up there on Saturdays, and I would we would prepare for church services. We would do different things in the rectory on Saturdays, and that's what led me to actually have that conversation with the Monsignor. Then a few years ago, into my late 20s, I'd gotten married, had a couple of children, served the military, was in Vietnam for a year, and I went to a church one Sunday, and they had an 18-year-old boy that they pulled him up to the front. He was in a military uniform, and his mother, single mother, had just died, and he was one of 5 or 6 children. And the Monsignor wanted all of us to convince this boy to resign from the military and to take care of his children, all these children. And it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because here was an 18-year-old boy, had no education, he had no experience, he had no way to do anything to take care of these children. And so I actually got up and walked out of the church and left Catholicism behind. I met a young lady who now has become my wife, and she brought me to Unity. And this has only been about maybe 10 years ago. Because for about 40 years after I walked out of the church until I met her and found Unity, I had no religion. I had no God. I didn't believe in a lot of the things that I know I should have. And she brought me to Unity, and it was okay. I didn't have a real connection, connection that I thought I might have. But it worked out that we went to a couple of different Unity churches. I remember actually seeing Matt and Nicole in one of them years ago. And but it still didn't click. And then about 6 or 7 years ago, we walked into this church. And Reverend Carol Record met us at the door. And I just had this immediate feeling that this is where I belonged. And it was amazing to me, because here I am, I'm a 70-year-old man, and hadn't had God in my life for a long, long, long time. Even when I was a Catholic, I didn't really know that I had God in my life like I was supposed to. Anyway, so once we got here, everything got, just sort of came together. I liked there was warmth, there was welcoming. I knew that when I came here that I was going to adopt this unity as my church. I fully accepted this was the place. What attracted me was that everyone was welcoming, and no matter who you were or where you came from. The simple teachings of Jesus and looking at the Bible in a new way proved to be a game changer for me. When I took the membership class 101 in January of 2018, I learned even more. For the first time in more than 70 years, I not only felt I belonged in a church, but my relationship with God belonged to me. Even with the transitions through different ministers, all the restrictions of COVID, finally the roof almost caving in on us, Reverend Linda has stepped up to provide leadership and messages that continue to inspire me. You could say that once I found Center of Unity in Grapevine, I never looked back. You all are part of my spiritual journey, and I thank you. Thank you.